Many of you may be familiar with Rebecca Solnit, who has been writing like crazy these past couple of years about the politics of our country, mostly on her own social media. But how many of you have actually read some of her books? What I'd like to do is give you a dose of one of them. This is Hope in the Dark. It is a book originally from 2003, but she revised it in 2015. Now, I know a lot has changed since 2015 as well, and yet, despite some of the dated material and all the angst around the Bush administration of the time, Solnit is offering us a take on our own psychologies, our own understanding of how we tell stories and what that does to us. And so I want to read a section of it to give you an idea about what she's up to here, because as bad as everything is, as bad as everything seems to be and is, that doesn't mean that we ourselves are not in control of some of the narrative, at least for ourselves. Here's what she has to say. The focus on survival demands that you notice the tiger in the tree before you pay attention to the beauty of its branches. The one person who's furious at you compels more attention than the 89 who love you. Problems are our work. We deal with them in order to survive or to improve the world, and so to face them is better than turning away from them, from burying them and denying them. To face them can be an act of hope, but only if you remember that they're not all there is. Hope is not a door, but a sense that there might be a door at some point, some way out of the problems of the present moment, even before that way is found or followed. Sometimes radicals settle for excoriating the wall for being so large, so solid, so blank, so without hinges, knobs, keyholes, rather than seeking a door. Or they trudge through a door looking for a new wall. Hope, Ernest Bloch adds, is in love with success rather than failure, and I'm not sure that's true of a lot of the most audible elements of the left. The only story many leftists know how to tell is the story that is the underside of the dominant culture story, more often than the stuff that never makes it into the news, and all news has a bias in favor of suddenness, violence, and disaster that overlooks groundswells, sea changes, and alternatives, the forms in which popular power most often manifests itself. Their gloomy premise is that the powers that be are not telling you the whole truth, but the truth they tell is also incomplete. They conceive of the truth as pure bad news, appoint themselves the deliverers of it, and keep telling it over and over. Eventually, they come to look for the downside in any emerging story, even in apparent victories, and in each other. Something about this task seems to give them, some of them anyway, the souls of meter maids and dog catchers. Of course, this also has to do with the nature of adversarial activism, which leads to obsession with the enemy, and as few environmentalists have mentioned to me, with the use of alarmist narratives for fundraising or mobilizing. Sometimes these bad news bringers seem in love with defeat, because if they're constantly prophesying doom, actual doom is pretty validating. They come to own the bad and even take pride in it. The monsters and atrocities prove their point, and the point is very dear to them. But part of it is a personal style. I think that this grimness is more a psychology than an ideology. There's a kind of activism that's more about bolstering identity than achieving results, one that sometimes seems to make the left the true heirs of the Puritans. Puritanical in that the point becomes the demonstration of one's own virtue, rather than the realization of results. And puritanical because the somber pleasure of condemning things is the most enduring part of that legacy, along with a sense of personal superiority that comes from the pleasure denied. The bleakness of the world is required as contrasting backdrop to the drama of their rising above. Now, she makes some good points. I've got a lot of questions. And I'm looking around me and seeing a lot of reasons to engage and be concerned. So I'm not done with this book yet. But she's not wrong to suggest that we can obsess over certain kinds of narratives. And what that does for us is skew our perspective. Rebecca Solnit, Hope in the Dark.